Namaskar, I am Dr. Chitra Joshi from Paryavaran Dakshata and today we are talking about the acid rain. What is the effect of acid rain on our environment that we are going to see today? So first of all, what do you understand by word acid? Acid is a substance which is sour in taste. Acid is a substance when react with metal, liberate hydrogen gas. When it react with carbonate, it liberate carbon dioxide gas. And when it react with say base, it gives us salt and water. That we know about acid. And one more thing is that acid is a substance which have more concentration of hydrogen ion. That means free hydrogen ions are present in acidic substance. Okay. Now let us see what is rain. Rain is nothing but a condensed moisture when comes from atmosphere on ground due to gravity and seen in a separate visible droplets that we call as rain. So this normal rain and acid rain have some difference. What is that difference that we'll see further? What is acid rain? Acid rain is nothing but it is a precipitate of acidic thing in environment. When it comes down from environment to ground, we call that as acid rain. Now these acid rains are of two types. First of all, we can say wet deposition. Wet deposition, that means when acidic polluted gases goes in the atmosphere and when they are blown by wind to a moist region, and when these moist region after moist thing or moist gases after condensation comes on a ground in the form of liquid or in form of snow or in form of mist, then we call that as a wet deposition. Next is a dry deposition. Dry deposition means when this acidic gas is blown by wind to a dry region, and in the dry region, when it gets mixed with a smoke or a dust in the atmosphere, and when this deposition comes to the ground in the dry state, that is called as dry deposition. This deposition is also very bad for the environment because this dry deposition get deposited on all the exposed thing in the atmosphere. Like it get deposited on say trees, it get deposited on buildings, get deposited on the soil, fields, etc. Now, how do we measure the level of acid? Level of acid can be measured with the help of a pH scale. You know what this pH scale means? pH scale is measured with the help of a pH paper. These pH papers are available in the market. One drop of a fluid when placed on a pH paper, then this pH paper changes its color. Actually, the pH paper is yellowish in color. When a drop of a solution is placed on this pH paper, it changes the color of the pH paper. When it changes the color of a pH paper, if the pH paper color is say red, then the fluid is acidic in nature. So for acid range, the pH scale is from 0 to 6.999. For basic range, that means alkaline range, the pH range is from 7.01 to 14, and the pH range is from 0 to 14. Here we measure entire concentration of hydrogen ions in the solution. Now, when the pH range is from 0 to 7, that tells us the solution is acidic. If the pH is say 0, the solution is strongly acidic in nature. If the pH is 6, then we say that the solution is weak acid. And if the pH range is 7, that indicates concentration of H ions and OH ions in the solution is equal and the solution is neutral. And when the pH scale is 8, the solution is less alkaline because here the concentration of now hydrogen ion goes on decreasing when the pH increases. So higher the pH value tells us the solution is basic in nature. 8 pH tells us the solution is weak base, and a 13 or a 14 pH tells us the solution is highly basic in nature. So using this pH scale or a pH paper, we can find out uh, acidic nature or a basic nature of the solution. Now, normally our normal rain has a pH range between 5.6 to 6, whereas an acid rain has a pH 4. Now, difference in the 1 unit of pH that tells us the concentration of hydrogen ions are 10 times more. That means, suppose the pH value is changing from 5 to 4, that tells us the hydrogen ion concentration has increased from 10 raised to minus 5 to 10 raised to minus 4 in the solution. And this increase or decrease in the hydrogen ion concentration is always measured in terms of moles per liter. So, how that pH can be measured, that is explained with this. Now we'll see the next slide. The next slide is for the causes of this acid rain. What are the causes of the acid rain? There are two different causes for the acid rain. One is a natural cause. Natural cause means all natural activities are responsible for acid rains. The second is the human activity. Now, human activities are responsible for causes of this uh, acid rain. Here, the natural causes we are keeping away. Only human activity which distract our environment, that we can see in the human activities. Now, let us first talk about the natural causes. So, natural causes, here you can see the dead bodies, the dead aqueous and animal aqueous life or aqua life, as well as a dead vegetation, dead fruits, dead leaves, when they fall on the ground and get ignored, because sometimes the things, these dead things or spoiled vegetation is at the interior part in the forest, and if these get ignored, then slowly they undergo decomposition. When they undergo decomposition, the various gases are evolved from this decomposition, like we can say hydrogen sulfide, dimethyl sulfide, or sulfur dioxide, uh, oxides of nitrogen, then the hydrogen halide, etc. These different types of the gases goes in the atmosphere slowly after decomposition of all these dead things or ignored things on. Here you can see the lightning. The lightning, due to lightning, nitrogen ions goes in the atmosphere, and this nitrogen ion can combine with oxygen form nitrogen dioxide, which is also a pollutant in the nature. Eruption of, say, this. One second. Eruption of volcanoes releases gases like sulfur dioxide or halogen gases or halogen gases in the atmosphere. In the same way, at a remote side of a uh, global, the deposition of acids are seen because of the decay of a dead animal or a dead vegetation for thousands of years under acid, and which are then comes out in the form of gases due to global warming. So now next we can see the human activities. Human activities like smoke from vehicle, snow from aeroplane, from say spray. This is just, you can say this is our either deo or a mosquito repellent, that type of a spray. Our ACs, conversion of fossil fuel, smoking, burning of the crop remains, then the vegetable or the burning of a garbage. Then even when we carry out some experiment in the laboratories, many gases goes in the atmosphere. So all these human activities are polluting our atmosphere, and different acidic gases are going in the atmosphere from exhaust of a car, or by smoking also. Carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, oxides of nitrogen goes in the atmosphere. When we are carrying out some experiment in the laboratory, that time say um, halogen gases like a chlorine, iodine, bromine, etc., or H2S gas, or even HCl gas. These type of different gases are going in the atmosphere, and they are increasing acidity of the atmospheric air. Now, in this picture, you can see a smoke, or actually the large amount of a smoke is coming out from factories or industries. When this smoke goes in the atmosphere, it pollutes atmosphere like anything. Now, can you see the color of this smoke is blackish in color? This blackish color is due to incomplete combustion of sulfur or incomplete combustion of carbon, and along with these gases, this incomplete combust, particles of sulfur and carbon also moves in the atmosphere. Mostly we can see that from the power generation places, the conversion of the different substances take place, or fossil fuel takes place, and this smoke or different acidic gases goes in the atmosphere from power points where the electricity is produced. Because the electricity generally what we use here is due to conversion of fossil fuel, that we call as a thermal electricity. Now, how the acid rain is formed? Now, acid rain is formed. Here you can see these different acidic gases, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide. When it moves in the atmosphere, at the same time, evaporation of water also takes place, and water vapors also moves in the atmosphere. At certain point, these gases combine with water vapors. Why they are combined with water vapors? Because these gases are water soluble. So they combine with water vapor, and after combination with the water vapor, these moves up, and we can see the clouds of this. Whenever the sufficient solar energy is available, that time these clouds are in the solid form, and they can be moved from one place to another place due to wind. When these clouds move in the moist region, uh, condensation of these vapor take place, and acid in the form of sulfuric acid and nitric acid comes on the ground. Now, this sulfuric acid and the nitric acid, they are strong acid. When they come on the ground due to gravitational force, they get mixed with the water on the ground, as well as part of that this water get percolated in soil also. Further, you can see that when these acids react with water, we are getting this type of the acid: sulfuric acid, nitric acid, carbonic acid. Among this, sulfuric acid and nitric acid are strong acid, whereas a carbonic acid is a weaker acid. So carbonic acid is not destructing our environment that much compared to the sulfuric acid and the nitric acid, because carbon dioxide is already present in the atmosphere. When the carbon dioxide is already present in the oxide, our normal rain pH is say 5.6 to 6 pH. That is due to this carbonic acid. But when this sulfuric acid or nitric acid mixed with uh, this acid rain, the pH changes to say 4, and the decrease in the pH, that means increase in the acidity, is due to presence of these um, hazardous gases like sulfur dioxide and oxide of nitrogen or nitrogen dioxide, or even methyl sulfide. Now here you can see from where these gases are coming. These gases are coming from various sources like industries, factories, and even exhaust of our vehicle. When these gases are going up, they mix with the atmospheric moisture, and they are in the gaseous state. When they are in the gaseous state, they are blown away by wind either in the dry region or in the moist region. When they are blown away in the moist region, they get condensed, and we get rain in the liquid form. This rain, when fall on, say, mountain in the form of a water fall or in the form of the spring, this water from mountain comes down in a river, get mixed with the river water, and it is then hazardous for the aquatic life. Same way, some of the water get absorbed by the soil, and when it get absorbed by the soil, it is hazardous for the vegetation which is present on the soil. From the soil, again, this water get mixed with the river water. Here also you can see when it is flown in a dry region. In the dry region, in the form of a dust or a smoke, these dry deposition get deposited on a dry region area. Whatever is exposed to that, like say buildings or crops or some trees, there they will get deposited and they will affect all the area. Further, here this water, rainwater flows and mix with the seawater. When it get mixed with the seawater get contaminated because of the acid rain. And you know that from seawater, salt is prepared. So ultimately, the salt what we get contaminated because of this rainwater. Now, effect of this acid rays we are going to see in short. What is the effect of acid rain on plants and soil? So first of all, when the acid rain fall on the plants, you know that in the chlorophyll, magnesium is present. So this acid rain affects, say, plant leaves. The plant leaves get spoiled and it become yellowish. It get fall off from the trees. When this acid rain get percolated through soil, it goes in soil. These roots of a plant, they absorb these acidic water. When it absorbs the acidic water, the nutrient which are present in the soil, like say magnesium, calcium, get distracted because acid when react with say metals, they react with metal very easily, and then metallic chloride or metallic sulfate formation take place. Since acid is reactive with metals, here the effect on the roots of the plants we observe, roots of the plant get damaged. Ultimately, the nutrition value of the soil also reduces. The plants will not get proper nutrition. Once the plant will not get proper nutrition, the plant may die or the growth may get stunted. Here, inside soil, microorganisms are also present, which are helpful for the plants. These microorganisms also get killed because of the acidic nature of the soil. And ultimately what we find, most of the plant they get affected and the forest get distracted. When the forest get distracted, our environment get distracted, oxygen supply to our environment reduces in because of this acid rain. Further, you can see the crops also get affected. The area where the acid rain is found, like in the dry region, like say Rajasthan or Gujarat side also, this because of the dry deposition, the crops get affected. Even in other area of our country, the crops get affected due to acid rain. And if the crops get affected, what happens? The ultimate result of that, the who suffers? The farmer suffers. And when the farmer suffers, we know the result of that. I should not mention that result further. Now, effect of acid rain on the aquatic life also we can see. On aquatic life, what happens? The when acid rain, uh, pH of the water increases, we find the fishes in the aquatic area, they die. The eggs of the fishes will not hatch uh, above under 5 pH. If the pH range is less than 5, then the hatching of the eggs of this aquatic animal is really problematic. these aquatic animals die at a very low pH. And when these aquatic animals die, the ultimate result of that is a fishes, because fishes may some fishes though are eating this sorry the birds, they eat fish, and ultimately the uh, effect is found on the food of birds. If the food of birds get contaminated, the result of that, birds also may die. So it is again a cycle, the spoiling of the river water, that means decrease in the pH of the river water, decreases the population of fishes in water. It affects even algae which are present underwater. And see the algae, some algae are the very good sources of iodine. So those algae, if get affected, iodine source also get affected in nature. And the iodine is one of the very essential element for us. And further you can see that destruction of this aquatic life is affecting on the bird life. Birds may also die because of this acidic rain. This acidic fumes or smoke continuously when we inhale, ultimately it affects our health also. So inhaling acidic fumes or drinking that contaminated water affects human health. Effect of the acid rain on the human health is what? We get headache. Sometimes our brain also stop working, or some effect is observed in a brain. Some brain diseases also causes because of this acid rain. Sometimes the respiratory system get affected because of the acid rain. Kidney get affected because of the acidic things in the water, and even the throat infection takes place when the acidic thing is increased in the uh, food or in water or in air what we inhale. So consuming acidic water, consuming acidic food, consuming or inhaling acidic air can affect human health. Here you can see continuous, because of the continuous wind, this clouds can move from one place to other place. When the clouds are moving from one place to other place, the clouds containing acidic fumes or acid gases also are moving continuously from one place to other place. There is no boundary, or we can say the visa is not required for those clouds to cross the country boundary or to cross state. These clouds can move from one place to other place. That means if the neighboring uh, country is doing some activity which is hazardous to us, these hazardous clouds can come in our country and it may affect our country life. Similarly, our state, if doing something wrong, and these contaminated gases are going in the neighboring state, then the neighboring state get affected, or because of the neighboring state, our state also may get affected. So this, if you observe that continuous flow of wind is making this cloud to flow from one place to other place, travel this cloud from one country to other country and affect the environment. Now, effect of acid rain on architecture and building. So our buildings, you know that they are constructed of different material, like metallic material and cement, mortar, etc. So the cement, mortar, or metallic material get affected by acid rain. Since the pH of the acid rain is lower, it definitely affect the mortar. The mortar get dissolved, metals get corroded due to acid rain. Even the old structures, if you see the old carvings of the building, if they are the stone carving or stone building, it get affected, it get distracted. The beauty of those buildings get distracted due to acid rain. Some bridges also get corroded. If the bridges get corroded, what happens? The bridges may collapse. If the bridges collapse, the accident takes place. So acid rain is very hazardous for us. Here you can see this tower is actually clock tower. Rajamai tower is known as a clock tower, and the clock of this tower is to be maintained properly. Up till now, it is working properly, but these also may get affected because of the accident, because machinery inside this clock is made up of metal, and this metal also may get affected by acid rain. So this acid rain is hazardous for architecture buildings. It is hazardous for historical monuments, and when it react with, say, limestone building or a sand building, then the sand building or the limestone building get affected because of the acid rain. The main effect we have seen on the Taj Mahal. Taj Mahal beauty, when it was built it, that time it was a crystal white color beauty, snow white beauty, but ultimately because of the factories or industries nearby to Agra region, the Taj Mahal beauty has changed to yellowish color now. Now last few years they're trying to maintain this beauty, but still it is not possible to regenerate the beauty of Taj Mahal again back to that snow white color. It has turned slightly yellowish color, or somewhat you can see it is a base color or a skin color breeding is observed, and at the same time the marbles are getting affected because of the acidic gases which are present around. The marble carving also get affected due to the acid rain. Further, this is what this you must be knowing very well. This is a Statue of Liberty, and this is in US. So the Statue of Liberty was actually made up of copper, but nowadays it looks greenish color or bluish color. This is because of the tanning of copper. The copper got corroded. That means oxide of a copper form on this statue, and it becomes a bluish color. So again, that beauty of a copper has changed. So many things changes because of the acid rain. So we have to be very careful when we are using anything. uh, we should not generate acid much more, and we should not allow the acidic fumes or acidic gas to go in the atmosphere. Here, the when power generation is taking place, that time lots of smoke or a heat goes in the atmosphere, because nowadays we are using the thermal power. The thermal power is fossil fuel is burned continuously, and that fossil fuel is turning water in steam, and further the steam is converted into electricity. So this electricity we are using like a nonsense nowadays. We require this electricity in all equipments, because here we require, say, a computer, we require fan, we require bulb, we require geyser, washing machine, AC, fridge, then oven, here mobile charger, and whatnot. For everywhere we are using electricity. The consumption of electricity is very large, and since the consumption of electricity is very large, continuous supply of electricity is required. If electricity stops for, say, few hours also, we are very uneasy, because we are used to this electricity so much. And when we are consuming this electricity, the continuous supply is also required, and this continuous supply of electricity causes um, continuous addition of a smoke or acidic uh, gases in the atmosphere due to thermal decomposition of fossil fuel. Now, what are the solutions for this? The solutions for this is what? How we can control this acid rain. For acid rain can be controlled by different action. So action by individual means we ourselves also can change ourselves little bit. That means suppose if we change our lifestyles little bit. Instead of using the electricity so much, if we reduce use of electricity to somehow, then also the acid rain uh, will be reduced. In that case, the acid formation, acidic gases, what we are forming and destroying our environment can be reduced. Now, how we can change our individual lifestyle? Use less of AC, make use of less electricity, fan, lights. In daytime, you don't require light that much. When you are going in mall, you can see many lights are on. When you are moving on the platform, say railway platform, so many fans are on. So you can request those people to just switch off at least 50% of these electricity equipment. That will help much more. Same way when we are traveling, if you use say public transportation, then the nitrogen gases or the sulfur dioxide gases going in the atmosphere can reduce because you are burning less fuel when you are using public transportation. Suppose you are using your own car, then try to travel by carpool. If you travel by carpool, the number of cars on the road will reduce. Reducing number of cars on the road also will help to reduce these acidic gases in the atmosphere, and it will reduce pollution in the atmosphere. Say at the same time, you can just fix that catalytic converter to your exhaust pipe of your vehicle. That also reduces acidic gases in atmosphere. Now, action by industries and factories. Industries and factories are also just throwing lots of, or I can say tons of gases in atmosphere. This can be reduced if these gases before going to the atmosphere are just dissolve in water and allowed to go in the atmosphere. It will reduce the quantity of these gases in the atmosphere. Or we can just allow these gases to pass to long chimney. So if they are passes to say tall chimneys, then some of the gases get condensed in that tall chimneys. And if we use say electrical coagulant, then because of that electrical coagulants, we can reduce the smoke which is getting released in the atmosphere. That way this can be controlled. Now, alternative energy sources, that means for electricity we are making use of say fossil fuel like say burning of carbon. So instead of burning of carbon, we can make use of hydroelectricity. We can use geothermal electricity. We can make use of a nuclear electricity or tidal electricity. So using all these alternative energies, electricity can be produced. We have to think on that to produce electricity. So alternative energy sources we can use to get electricity. Now, restoring damaged environment. Restoring damaged environment means suppose now the acid rain has fall. Already we know that whatever water is falling on the ground is acidic in nature. Then in that case, what we can do, take a powdered limestone or a lime water, and that you can sprinkle on the ground. You can sprinkle that on the soil or in the field, or that water you can just add in a rivers or some lakes where the aquatic life is there. But you have to take care of the aquatic life inside that say lakes or inside river. You must know at what pH this animal will not get distracted. Accordingly, that much quantity only you must add to restore damaged environment. Now, action by state and nature, nation. The action by state and nation, that means at least in once in a day we can observe no vehicle day. Because see, when I have gone to Bhutan, there in Bhutan, one day in a week they observe as no vehicle day. That means on that day, vehicle is not coming out on the road. So on road you will not find any vehicle. Even for the visitors, those are visiting those nation. For them also they arrange some activity on that particular day so that those visitors are in nature, somewhere in the tents or somewhere in the hotels. They are enjoying that day without knowledge of that no vehicle day. Same way here also in our nation or a state, only once in a month. I'm not saying once in a week. Once in a month or uh, once in 6 months, say, or 3 months, we observe no vehicle day. Then the vehicles will not come on road. And if the vehicles don't come on the road, this acidic gases will not go in atmosphere. And this way we can reduce acid rain. We can conserve our environment by all these activities. See, actually, the rainwater what we get from nature, this rainwater is a pure distilled water. See, I remember when I was a student that time, after first 3, 4 rains, means when the continuous rain start in the month of say July, that time our teacher used to keep some big container on the terrace of our colleges, and in those container directly the rainwater is to get collected. Because see, they are not the rainwater was not collected through some any metallic thing or anything. Directly that rainwater teacher used to collect in the container, and when this container get filled after say 2, 3 months, those that container water was a pure distilled water, and throughout year we used to use that distilled water in our laboratory to carry out the experiment. So actually nature gave us the purest form of water. So try to maintain that purity of a nature by by not contaminating the environment. So if you reduce all these acidic gases in environment, we can get pure water from nature, right? So thank you very much. That's the end of my thing.